Hey there, everyone. Welcome back. One more thought before we head into this week's parsha. The second parsha we're going to read, Kedoshim, begins with God telling the Jewish people, Kedoshim to you shall be holy. The Midrash Tanchuma asks the question, Lama? Why? Why should we be holy? What does that even mean in the context? Why is it that we are holy? Why are we holy? Explain it to me. What does that do with our mission as a people to be a representation of God's way of life, etc.? What does that do with anything? Why is this happen that we are holy? So the answer that the Midrash gives, Lafisha hid bakti etchem lematnai. God says, I caused you to cling to my loins. It says in Yirmiyahu, right, that as the girdle clings to one's loins, sort of as the belt really kind of helps you as keep your clothing nice and tight up against your body. So too, the pasuk there says in Yirmiyahu, all of the house of Israel and the house of Yehuda, all the Jewish people will cling to me. Thus says Hashem. Lefichach kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani Hashem. Therefore, you shall be holy. Why? Because as the pasuk says, for I am holy. You're sticking to me. You're cleaving to me. I'm causing you to cleave to me. Therefore, your holiness comes from being in close proximity to me. Ani eineni kevasav adam. God tells the Jewish people, I am not like flesh and blood. Melech basar adam, a human king. Ein reshut lehedyot lehikarot bishmo. When it comes to a human king, regular people, their subjects, you might say, have no right to be called by the name of the king. No one would say, you're an image, you are the reflection of king so-and-so or queen so-and-so, just because you are a subject or a citizen of that country. Teidalacha. Let me, you know this, let me prove it to you. When a person wants to accuse his fellow human being, Korelo Augusta Ploni Ve'ein Lo Chaim, calls him Augustus, it's like a name that you would have called somebody who you, I guess, wanted to accuse them of something. There's more to look into. I don't have time to get into that. What is the Augustus here doing in this text? Though you get extra credit if you can figure it out. Anyways, and there's no life for him, right? You call him this, and then there's no life for that person. Aval Yisrael, Nikru, meaning, by the way, what does that mean? You call them so-and-so, right? You label them, and you label them, and that's, unfortunately, oftentimes when people are accused of things and they're labeled in certain ways, it really does, unfortunately, stick with them, which is why making accusations is a serious business. Aval Yisrael, Nikru b'shmo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Jewish people are called by the name of God, right? That's how we're called. Kol Shem Chaviv Shayakot LaKadosh Baruch Hu Bahem Karat Yisrael. All the beloved names that God has, He gave to the Jewish people as well, right? When it comes to people making accusations, or a friend wants to accuse another one of having done something, he can give you whatever name he wants. He start calling you this, and they call you that, but that's the extent of name call. You get called a name, right? And it's not a pleasant thing, right? You never get called by a positive name, right? I'm a subject of King Henry the VIII, and therefore, that's some sort of praise. It doesn't work that way. No, and the king would never allow it if it was even something that people would do. But you see, God shared His names with us. Kara Shemo Elokim. God is called Elokim. V'kara Yisrael Elokim, and he called the Jewish people V'kara Yisrael Elohim. So let's be very careful here. Shneimar Ani Amarti Elohim Atem. You are Elohim. Not say you are gods here, but you have powers, right? That's what it says in Tehillim. Nikra Chacham, God is called the wise. Shenemar Chacham Levav v'Amitz Koach. One, right? He is called wise. One wise of heart and mighty of strength. That's God. Karali Yisrael Chacham, and the Jewish people are called Chacham. Shenemar in Dvarim it says Rak Am Chacham v'Navon. Right? It says that surely this, this great nation is a wise and understanding people. That's what people will call the Jewish people, or they'll think about the Jewish people. Nikra Dod. God is called a Dod, meaning a beloved one. Shenemar Dodit Sach v'Adom. My beloved is bright and ruddy. Right? It's got a reddish color. And V'Karali Yisrael. And God called the Jewish people Dodim. Shenemar Ichlu Re'im. Right? Eat, friends, and drink to excess. Dodim, my beloved ones. So you have here all the names that are associated with God. God gave to the Jewish people. Nikra Bachur, God is called a Bachur. Shenemar Bachur Ka'arazim. God is called the chosen from amongst the cedars, or as the cedars, like the cedars are the best trees, the strongest, mightiest trees, and God is the Bachur. He is, chosen in that sense. The Karali Yisrael, Bachurim, God called the Jewish people Bachurim. He called them chosen. Shemar Becha Bachar Hashem Elokecha, and Dvarim it says, God has chosen you. The Lord your God has chosen you. And this continues. Nikra Chasid, God is called a Chasid, a pious one. And Shenemar Ki Chasida Ani Ne'um Hashem, God calls himself in Yirmiyahu, pious. And Bekarali Yisrael Chasidim, and God calls Yisrael Chasidim, pious ones. Shenemar Isfuli Chasidai, gather for me my pious ones, says God. This is quoted in Tehillim. Nikra Kadosh, God is called holy. Kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzvakot. Right? Holy, 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 that is the God of legions. That's what the angels are describing of God. V'chein ki kadosh Hashem tzvakot. Also in Tehillim it says, for God is holy. God, for Hashem, the Master of legions is holy. The Karal Yisrael Kedoshim, and the Jewish people are called holy. This really goes on, right? I'm going on too long almost here. Shemar Kedoshim to you. Our parsha, Kedoshim to you. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ba'olam hazeh Kedoshim nikretem. In this world you are called holy ones. Le'atid v'haya hanishar b'tzion v'hanotar b'Yerushalayim kadosh ye'amer lo. In the world to come, what will happen? Right, it'll come to pass that the one who is left in Sion and who remains in Yerushalayim shall be called holy. It seems to be describing a time of maybe a messianic notion going on here. And this is what the Midrash says. Every name that God is called in Tanakh, He gave to the Jewish people as well. And this is clever and cute on the surface. Right? The Chazal were able to find a connection to all these things. But I think it speaks really to the notion that we are holy. We are unique as a people. Not because of anything unique about our DNA, or that we are called Jewish. It doesn't make us better. It doesn't make us we're not created differently in any kind of sense, just because we're the chosen people. What it means, and I've said this in many other contexts, to be the chosen people, what it means to be holy means that we are cleaving to God. We are clinging to God, and we are supposed to be a mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. We are supposed to be a holy nation. We are supposed to be exemplary people because of our proximity to God vis-a-vis the mitzvot. The mitzvot keep us close to God consistently. The mitzvot that are bein adam l'chaveiro, even between ourselves and fellow human beings, and most certainly between ourselves and God, it keeps us connected to God. And this connection and this idea of being holy is not to say that we are better than. It's just simply because of where we position ourselves vis-a-vis God. And we are close. And I will share with you, it's not in this Midrash, but another Midrash in talking about Kedoshim Tiyu says that if we earn it, if we work hard in it, we will have the title of holy ones. But if we don't, then we are going to be, an Eidah. We're going to be more called an Eidah, a community and a congregation, which is associated with the Meraglim, meaning our holiness and our sanctity depends on what we do with that closeness to God. Do we take it for granted? Do we ignore the fact that we have this opportunity to be close to God? In which case, we're a little bit like the Meraglim. We are following in a wicked path by ignoring what is right there in front of us to be able to cleave to the ways of God. Those ways are special, and they should not be taken for granted. And if we follow them, we will be exemplary human beings in this world, and the Jewish people will truly be a light unto the nations. Shabbat Shalom.